llamado El entendimiento internacional a través de los libros para niños, un encuentro al que acudieron maestros, editores y filósofos de distintas partes del mundo. Como resultado de dicho encuentro, los asistentes acordaron crear al año siguiente una noble organización sin fines de lucro que busca propiciar el encuentro feliz entre los niños y los libros. Dicha organización es, desde luego, Ibby. A continuación, escucharemos las palabras de Patsy Aldana, presidenta de la Fundación Ibby, quien presentará la medalla Yela Lebman. Para ella y para Mr. y Mrs. Lee, les pido un aplauso.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Buenas noches. I have the very big honor of presenting our most important award to our most generous sponsors of the Hans Christian Andersen Prize, Nami Island Inc., Mr. Kang and the Min family, who are here to accept the prize. Please come up to the stage. Sin esta familia y la isla de Nami no tendríamos el premio Anderson. Without them, we would not have the Anderson Prize. We would not be able to do this. So please, I ask them to accept the Yela Lepman Medal and diploma, and we thank them so much for their wonderful, wonderful support of Ibby and the Anderson Prize. Anybody who has a chance should go to Nami Island one day. It will be the best thing you've ever done. Mrs. Min will give us a few short words of thanks.
Thank you, Patsy. Thank you, everybody. Good evening. Buenas noches. Tonight is a magical night for me and also for everyone involved with Nami Island. Tonight, I was told that Nami Island will be a recipient of Yela Lipman Medal, a recognition named after IBBY founder, for whom I have the most profound respect. It is indeed a tremendous honor. Just as Yela Lipman did through her remarkable life, I believe Nami Island has been making every effort in building bridges of international understanding through children's books. Nami Island is unique in that it centers on the promotion of children's books and reading. We are proud to host the Biennial International Children's Book Festival, sponsor the IBBY Hans Christian Andersen Award, and organize the NAMI Concours on International Prize for Illustration. I would like to believe it's a small island with a big heart and maybe even bigger dreams and love for children. Tonight, I feel especially pleased and honored to be reassured that all our initiatives are very much in line with Yela Lipman's vision. I would like to take this occasion to say that Nami Island will continue to play its part in promoting her legacy of peace and hope as best as we can. Last but not least, on behalf of all the members of Nami Island, I would like to extend our sincere, heartfelt congratulations to Naoko Umehashi and Rojo Mello, the glorious winners of this year's Hans Christian Andersen Awards. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Los pájaros no aman, pero cantan canciones que sí amamos. Las flores no aman, pero iluminan el amor y lo decoran. Estos versos de José Antonio Masoliver nos recuerdan que los premios no hacen la literatura, pero la reconocen y ayudan a difundirla. Para continuar con la ceremonia de entrega del premio Hans Christian Andersen 2014 a dos artistas, uno de la palabra, el otro de la imagen, vamos a dar la bienvenida a María Jesús Gil, presidenta del jurado del premio Hans Christian Andersen.
Buenas noches a todos. Good evening. Miss Vice President of Ibby, distinguished laureates, most valued hosts and sponsors, esteemed guests, Ibby friends. As the president of the 2014 Hans Christian Andersen Award jury, I am very proud to be here with you in Mexico City to introduce the winners of the 2014 Hans Christian Andersen Award, Naoko Uehashi and Roger Mello. As soon as the jury selected the winners, I informed the patron of the awards, Her Majesty Queen Margrethe II of Denmark, of their decision. Her Majesty has kindly granted me permission to extend her hearty congratulations to the two winners today. I would like to take this opportunity to warmly thank Her Majesty for her continuing patronage of the Andersen Awards. I would especially also like to thank Nami Island, Inc. for their generous sponsorship of the Hans Christian Andersen Awards. Thank you, Mr. Ming, thank you, Mrs. Lee, and Mr. Fred Ming, for the generous support given by Nami Island to the Andersen Award, which is the most prestigious international award given to creators of children's literature. Thank you. I would also like to express my gratitude to this year's jury. I had the honor to work with these 10 distinguished experts in literature for children from 5 continents, and it has been an extraordinary experience for me. Many of them are with us this evening. Allow me to recognize them and their fantastic job. Please stand up if you are here. Anastasia Arkhipova from Russia. It's not. Unfortunately, she is not here. Fanuel Hanna Diaz from Venezuela. Sabine Für from Austria. Sang-Wook Kim from South Korea. It's not here. Enrique Pérez Díaz from Cuba. Deborah Soria from Italy. Yes. Susan Stan from USA. Hello. Sahar Tahander from Iran. Erik Tituson from Sweden. Hello. And Ayfer Gudal Unar from Turkey. She's not here. Former Ibby Vice President Elda Nogueira from Brazil and Ibby Executive Director Liz Page were ex-officio jury members. Thank you. For almost a year, the members of the jury and I have thoroughly evaluated the work of the 28 authors and 30 illustrators from 33 countries who were nominated by the Ibby national sections as candidates for the 2014 awards. Always, the complete works of the candidates is taken into consideration in the selection process. And this represents a year of hard work. As president of this jury, I want to express my gratitude to all of them. And now, in the name of Ibby, it is my privilege and pleasure to briefly introduce to you our 2014 winners whom we are honoring this evening. In fact, to summarize in 5 or 6 minutes the most important aspect of the work of the two talented winners of the stature of Naoko Uehasi and Roger Mello is really an impossible challenge. However, let me make the attempt. I will do my best. They are both from very distant countries, one from Japan and the other from Brazil. But Naoko Uehasi's writing and Roger Mello's illustration share a very important viewpoint. Through their work, both of them give children and adults the message that we must aim for a better world. They accomplish this by making an everlasting contribution to children's literature with their work. And this is the real essence of Ibby and of these awards. We want them to build bridges of understanding and peace between people, promote international understanding through children's books, and give children everywhere the opportunity to have access to books with high literary and artistic standards. As you know, the winner of the 2014 Hans Christian Andersen Award for Writing is Naoko Uehasi from Japan. Ms. Uehasi writes extraordinary stories of fantasy and science fiction that are replete with imagination, culture, and the beauty of a sophisticated process and form. Her literary subjects are based on ancient Asian and oceanic mythology and are deeply rooted in the very essence of human nature. Her stories are about honor and duty, faith and sacrifice. She has an extraordinary ability to create worlds in which relationships exist on different planes, a world seen as a network-like universe rather than merely a space. In these works, we can find tenderness and a great respect for nature and all sapient creatures. She has a universal message in her works. No matter where we live or how our culture defines us, through her stories, we can recognize the essence of mankind. Love, altruism, life and death, body and soul, generosity, maturity, searching. She builds worlds filled with mystery and suspense, using interesting and sophisticated metaphors, clever literary techniques, while at the same time including very subtle touches of humor. It is clear that Naoko Uehashi writes for demanding readers, both young and adults. Congratulations to Naoko Uehashi. And the winner of the 2014 Hans Christian Andersen Medal for Illustration is Roger Melo from Brazil. As an illustrator, writer, and playwright, Roger Melo has illustrated more than 100 titles, many of them with him as the author as well as illustrator. He produces illustrations that are a synthetic of symbolic and descriptive elements. It is like he has two representative codes. From the evident or the obvious, he races toward more transcendent elements as he explains his meaning using philosophy and illustration. He is a master of incorporating culture, tradition, tolerance, respect, travel, discovery, legends, environment, urban life, and technology in his work. Through this, he is able to enjoy an intelligent dialogue with his readers and provoking them an emotional and critical answer to reality. His use of color in this ritual and symbolic way gives his books a ceremonial air that brings these different elements together. Naoko Uehashi and Roger Melo are both worthy winners in the long tradition of the Hans Christian Andersen Awards. Congratulations to both of them. And now please welcome Ibby Vice President, Ms. Hasmi Chainian, to the stage. A moment before go further, I would like to invite to the stage to Ms. Serpil Erol, candidate for the Author Award nominated by Ibby Turkey. Please come up to receive your diploma. Coming? There? Yeah. Ms. Serpil Ural, please, candidate for Ibby Turkey. Is not here? Is here? Well, maybe later. Well, maybe later. Now it is with great pleasure and real honor for me to invite the 2014 winners to the podium to receive their diplomas and medals and to address us with their acceptance speeches. Thank you very much for your attention. Ms. Naoko Uehasi, come here, please, and Roger, please. Come here.
Just a second, Maria Jose, maybe you can ask. I think she's in the room. Serpil Ural. Is Serpil Ural here from Turkey? No. Oh, she's there.
A continuación, vamos a pedir a la ganadora del premio Hans Christian Andersen 2014, Naoko Uehashi, que nos obsequie unas palabras. Démosle un aplauso, por favor.
now? May I start?
皆さんこんばんは。こんばんは。Good evening. 国際アンデルセン賞の受賞という素晴らしい栄誉に預かり、心から光栄に思っております。多くの方々が支えてくださらなかったら、このような賞をいただくことはできませんでした。まずはその方々に心からの感謝を述べさせてください。IBBY の理事の方々、そして IBBY の創設者であるイエラ・レプマンに、子どもの文学を通して国際理解と平和への貢献をしようという素晴らしい志のもとに、この組織を作り、絶え間ない努力を続けてくださっていることへの感謝を捧げます。また、国際アンデルセン賞の審査員の方々にも心からの御礼を申し上げます。もちろん、私を候補に選出してくださった JBBY の選考委員の方々はじめ、 JBBY の皆さん、私の物語を見事な英語に翻訳してくださった、そして今回もこのスピーチの翻訳をはじめ、さまざまな側面で私を支えてくださった平野キャシーさんに、そして私の物語を出版してくださった改正者、講談社、理論者、新潮社の編集者の皆さんはじめ、出版に携わったすべての方々、そして私を育ててくださった、支えてくださった家族、パートナーに心からの御礼を申し上げます。また、私を育ててくれたさまざまな物語を生み出した作家の方々、私の物語を楽しんでくださっている読者の皆さん、すべてに心から感謝いたします。そして共に国際アンデルセン賞を受賞したホジェロ・メロ、おめでとうと言わせてください。アンデルセン賞の受賞が決まったとき、日本では夜の11時半だったんですが、携帯電話で受賞を知らせてくださった単勝編集者の声の向こうに、多くの人たちの歓声が聞こえて、暗い深夜の日本から一気に明るい昼間のイタリアに連れて行かれたような気がしました。携帯電話の向こうに確かにあるイタリアの今この時にも世界のあちこちで昼だったり夜だったり朝だったり、多くの人たちがさまざまなことをして生きている、そんなことを一瞬生々しく感じたのでした。その後送られてきた受賞理由を読ませていただき、多様な価値観、多様な環境で生きる人々が交差する複雑な社会を描いていることや、自然や人類への愛情や敬愛の気持ちが物語に現れていることを評価していただいたことを知ったとき、ふっと幼い頃から今までたどってきた人生のさまざまなことが心に浮かび、その時深い静かな思いが波のように押し寄せてきたのです。私がこれまで出会った人々、物語、やってきたことのどれか一つでも欠けていたら、私は今この喜びを感じることはなかった。 そういう思いです。私は東京の下町で生まれました。超近代的な都市である東京の片隅の伝統的なお祭りや古い時代の匂いがたくさん残している、そういうエリアです。私は体が弱い子供でした。よく熱を出して寝ていましたが、そのおかげで祖母にお話をしてもらい、両親にもたくさんの本を読んでもらいました。ですから物心つく頃には立派な物語中毒患者になっていました。今お見せしている写真で母の膝に座って偉そうに手を挙げているのが私です。で、多分私の誕生日か何かだったんだと思います。母が普段は着ることがない伝統的な衣装の着物を着ていますから、その隣で熊のぬいぐるみを膝に抱いているのが私の祖母です。この祖母は東京の生まれではなくて、遠い南の地方の出身で、民間伝承の宝庫のような人でした。お話を語るのがとてもうまくて、私は幼い頃、祖母の膝の上に頭をくっつけて、たくさんお話を聞いて育ったんです。豊かな日本の昔話でした。祖母が語ってくれたのは、子供向けの昔話というよりは、ご近所で昔こんなことがあったというような話が語り継がれてきた、そういうお話が多かったように思います。例えば、農家のお嫁さんが忙しく働いている隙に、猫が赤ん坊をさらっていって木の上で育てていたという話を聞かされたり、猫は時折ふらっと修行の旅に出て行って化け猫の親玉のところで踊ったりして呪術の力を身につけて修行を積んで帰ってくることがあるから、行方不明になった猫が戻ってきたら、侮っちゃいけないよ、人を化かす力が身についているかもしれないからねと言われたりしたものです。祖母のお話に登場する動物たちは、猫も狐も皆人と同じような心と知恵を持って、そういうワクワクした物語を私は聞いて育ったのでした。そのせいでしょうか、私は幼い頃から虫にも草にも、あるいは石にさえ命があるような気がしておりました。石ころを蹴ろうとした瞬間に、ふっと自分が石に吸い込まれたようになってしまって、蹴ろうとしている自分を見上げているような錯覚を覚えたことがありました。あ、蹴られたら痛いなと思ってしまうんです。そういう気持ちは大人になった今でもずっと心の中にあり続けています。私が自然に対する敬愛念を持っているとするなら、それは自分の外側にある自然に対して感じているというより、私と一つながりになっている森羅万象に対する感覚として持っている感情なんだと思います。こうした祖母の影響に加えて、本を読むという習慣が私の心を養って世界観を作る上で大きな力となりました。日本人は昔から本を読む楽しみを大切にしてきました。19世紀の半ば頃、諸外国の本が盛んに翻訳されて日本に入ってきました。ですから私が子どもの頃にはもう日本の作家の本だけではなくて、本当にたくさんのさまざまな国々の作家たちが書いた本を読むことができたんです。おかげで私は10代の頃、 運命の本たちに出会うことができました。アーサー・ランサムのツバメ号とアマゾン号、フィリッパ・ピアスのトムは真夜中の庭で、アリスン・アトリーのトラベラー・イン・タイム、リンドグレーンのカルレ君とシリーズ、バルトス・ヘプナーのコサック軍シベリアを行く、急げ草原の王のもとへ、またレジュナルド・オトリーのラッグス、僕らはいつも一緒だ、あるいはアーシュラ・ケイ・ルーグインのゲド戦記など、私は夢中で読みました。17歳の時にはグリーンノーの子供たちを読んで、その物語の美しさに憧れて、わざわざイギリスのケンブリッジの近郊に住んでおられた作者のボストン夫人のところまで訪ねたことがありました。この写真はグリーンノーの子供たちを読んで訪ねた時のルーシー・エン・ボストン夫人との写真です。この時ボストン夫人はもうすでに80歳を過ぎておられたと思います。私はとにかく読書が好きで、翻訳されていた物語をたくさん読みましたが、その中でも私のその後の人生に最も大きな影響を与えたのは、ローズマリー・サトクリフの第9軍団の和紙、灯火を掲げて運命の騎士などの歴史物語と、トールキンの The Lord of the Rings でした。サトクリフの物語ではよく異なる文化背景を、または異なる歴史を持っている若者たちの友情が描かれます。第9軍団ではローマ軍の100人隊長であったマーカスと、ローマに支配された先住民の若者の間に横たわっている深い文化の溝と、立場の違い、背負っている歴史の違い、そういうものが綿密に描かれていました。その際は深刻なもので、なかなか越え難いものでしたけれども、それでもその立場の違いを超えて、人と人とは深い友情で結ばれることもあり得るかもしれない、そういう願いを込めてサトクリフは物語を描いていたように私は思います。異なる文化、異なる民族、異なる歴史、異なる立場を背負って生きていく多くの人々が暮らしているこの世界では、どうしても争いや葛藤が起きてしまいます。それでもなお、それを超えて人と人とが共に生きていくことができる、そういう道もあるかもしれない、そういう願いを私はサトクリフの物語から感じたのでした。私はやがて大学で文化人類学を学び、大学院で博士課程に入り、オーストラリアをフィールドに選んで、アボリジナルピープルと長く一緒に暮らしながら、多文化の共生について考え続ける道を選んだのですけれども、そのきっかけの一つがサトクリフの物語であったことは間違いありません。この写真は私がオーストラリアでフィールドワークを始めた頃の写真です。このアボリジナルレディは本当に素晴らしいお話をたくさん私に聞かせてくださいました。サトクリフの物語、歴史物語だけでなく、ファンタジーの傑作であるトールキンの指輪物語 The Lord of the Rings もまた、ホビットやドワーフ、エルフス、そして人間、多様な 生き物が暮らす世界を一つの圧倒的な価値観で縛ってしまう指輪を捨てに行く、そういう物語でした。多民族が共に生きることの大切さが高らかに歌われているように思われました。そしてどちらの作家の物語も読み始めた瞬間から物語の中に吸い込まれてしまって、その中を歩いていくような力を持っていました。フロドと一緒に苦しみながら中津国を歩いていき、マーカスと共にブリテン島の辺境を旅する。その物語の力に10代だった私は見せられて、ああ、こういう物語を書きたいと激しく願ったのでした。物語は他者になる力を与えてくれます。読み始めた瞬間から自分とは全く別の、全く違う文化や環境に生きている主人公たちに同化して暮らしてしまい、その人々の人生を生きる、主人公の目で感覚で暮らす、そういう機会を与えてくれるんです。それは幼い時にふっと石ころの気持ちになって、石ころの中に吸い込まれて自分を見上げたあの気持ちにとても近いもので、きっとそれこそが想像の力なんだと思います。私たちはそういう力を持っているからこそ、この世に生きる多くの他者と共に何とかかんとか歩んでいく道を探せるのかもしれません。読み始めたら止まらないワクワクする物語、物語世界に生きる多くの他者たちの気持ちにいつの間にか寄り添って歩み、読み終えた時には読み始めた時とは少し違う場所に立っている。そういう物語を書きたいという思いを胸に、私はこれからも物語を書き続けていきます。ご清聴どうもありがとうございました。
Muchas gracias, Naoki. Ojalá que sí sigas escribiendo muchos años y podamos seguirte leyendo. A continuación, vamos a pedir al ganador del premio Hans Christian Andersen 2014, Roger Melo, que nos obsequie unas palabras. Roger.
Eu acho que está pouco alto. Não, tá bom. Agora melhor. Estamos em família. Agradeço, Ibby México, a sua araucária tão linda. To Central Ibby, to all Ibby participants here today, a family of my own. From Yella Lapman, I learned that illustration is a political and philosophical act. To the IB Vice President, Hasmin Shahinian. Para a Fundação Nacional do Livro Infantil e Juvenil, Seção Brasileira do Ibby, minha família, por terem me nomeado a esse prêmio maravilhoso, em especial as minhas amigas Elizabeth Serra e Laura Sandrone. Ao embaixador do Brasil no México, João Solano, e ao Adido Cultural aqui presentes, ao Centro Cultural Brasil-México. Para a presidenta del honorable jurado, Maria Jesus Gil. To the jury members, thank you so much. To my family on Nami Island, the utopian paradise in Korea, Mata Mata, Gamsahamnida. Für meine Familie in der Internationalen Jugendbibliothek in München, vielen Dank. Eu preciso dos nomes: Arthur, Felipe, Débora, José Walter, Lourdes, Silvio, Rubens, Massarani, Graça Lima, Sophie, Nahira, Tatiana, Sandra, Ariadna, Milena, Chopke, Ricardo, Sérgio, Luciana, Rosa, Adolfo, Verônica, Greco, Ninfa, Lucília, Mônica, Fred, Kang Woo Hyun, Min Family, Johan, Junko, Bill, Anastácia, Zohre, obrigado. Liz, Patsy, Alice, Elda, Mingju, Reza, Açucena. Bruno. To my award companion, Nahoko Uehashi, domo arigatou gozaimasu. Aos meus queridos editores do Brasil, do mundo, para Lígia Bojunga e Ana Maria Machado. Aos autores de imagens e palavras do Brasil e de toda a América Latina, bibliotecários, editores, educadores, leitores, promotores de leitura, mediadores, viajantes em todo o mundo que carregam um livro. O prêmio é para todos vocês. Para meus irmãos Sandra e Marcelo, a toda a minha família e aos meus pais, agradeço em primeiro lugar. Acreditaram em minhas viagens, nunca pediram para que eu parasse de viajar e guardaram meus desenhos de criança, Maria Dir, Manuel, Cantídia. Para o meu vô Ney, quero conectar-me con los narradores visuales de este país, de estas muchas naciones que constituyen la cultura de México, Tenochtitlán, Mesoamérica, Yucatán, los pueblos nómadas del norte. Su poesía visual me ha conquistado a través de su fuerza insondable. Lo insondable es lo que hace posible mover la creación narrativa, el pensamiento libre del lector. Mexicas, mayas, olmecas tejeron, pintaron, hicieron diagramas y alimentaron el mundo con su ficción de imágenes. En un tiempo en que no era necesario que la ficción se separase de la realidad. El códice borbónico, el calendario zapoteco, la cerámica, la escritura, los dibujos que cuentan historias, en un mundo libre de imágenes narrativas abiertas, a los ilustradores y otros artistas de México contemporáneo. Solo el lector-autor subvierte el sendero de la narración. La niña, el viajero e el livro. A menina, o viajante e o livro. The girl, the traveler and the book. I like the night to get in the car and see things pass on the other side of the window, like thoughts passing inside our heads, only much faster. Over there, a police car, my dad pointed. We'd better take the Avenida das Nações. Are we trying to escape from the police, Dad? When did we begin to flee from the police? That night, it was just supposed to be a quick ride. It is a ride, daughter. It was not. And there was a stack of books, the same size as me on the left seat, not to mention that gust of wind coming in from the front window. Clarice speaks, remembering that scene while glimpsing a red and white illustration under the shade. Then she turns to me. Clarice is thirsty. I know that look of asking for some water on her face very well. Today, the city's humidity is as low as in the Sahara Desert. She read out from the paper. The lake in our city didn't exist from the beginning. The river was filled up in such a hurry so that the newborn city would get a lake and not become as dry as it is today. I figure in my head all that water filling the Paranoá River, flooding many wooden houses and the old Goiás's indigenous cemetery. There wasn't even enough time to remove the trees from the bottom. Even today, people drown trapped in the webs of the trees in the bottom. I always knew that those trapping webs at the bottom were the guts of a monster swallowing everything. It wasn't me who said the lake swallowed books. It was Clarice. It swallows people too. Water and books now seem to be part of the same crazy world. Do you think the lake also swallowed my dad? She kept speaking while drawing a lake made out of bones and pages. You knew my dad worked for you know who? For who, Clarice? For you know who? Got it. And you know who were the same ones who had the power to make people and books fade away, weren't they? Remember that relative of mine who disappeared? What was her name? Clarice asked me not to say it, the name of that relative who used to hide all that books. Why not, Clarice? She was afraid to learn the name and repeat it loud. Zila, in the midst of her dreams. Zila. You know, my dad can hear it. I did know Clarice's dad worked for you know who. He used to separate and cut scenes from movies that were not supposed to be seen by people. Why didn't he wear a uniform like you know who? I might have seen one picture of him wearing uniform. I don't know, maybe not. Did he really watch all those movies, Clarice? So wasn't he the most you know who of them all? At the beginning, he must have hated those movies so much that it was really a pleasure to get rid of the scenes. But he spent so much time watching them. Can you imagine? I bet he was getting more and more involved with forbidden stuff in such a way that at the end, he kept hidden movies as well as books. Did I mention I saw a stack of books the same size as me next to me in the car once? Yeah, you've just told me. He also had to disappear, isn't it? Maybe the lake? She has that scary looks right now on her face. But it's less scary than water swallowing books. Para dizer a verdade, let me see. English one? See? Okay. Ok. Para dizer a verdade, ninguém na minha família trabalhou para os você sabe quem. Nem usava uniforme, mas o pai da minha personagem, o pai da Clarice, sim. Clarice roubou esse pedaço de memória minha para existir como personagem. Ela roubou isso de mim, mas eu também roubei de conversas em voz baixa, aqui e ali. Clarice e eu temos outra coisa em comum. Crescemos em Brasília nesses anos. Brasília, pensada como uma cidade igualitária, com acesso democrático à educação, necessidades básicas, artes e pensamento. Mas é uma cidade planejada. Toda cidade planejada pode acabar ditando limites para os seus futuros habitantes. Outra Clarice, a escritora Clarice Lispector, escreveu: Brasília é construída na linha do horizonte. Brasília é artificial. Tão artificial como devia ter sido o mundo quando foi criado. Quando o mundo foi criado, foi preciso criar um homem especialmente para aquele mundo. Brasília foi criada por pensadores visuais, artistas, arquitetos, urbanistas, estimulados pela possibilidade de ter um projeto, desenhando e redesenhando com uma caneta antes de chegar à maquete. Era um diálogo entre arte e pensamento. O governo militar, entre 1960 e 1980, tomou o poder e declarou os atos chamados atos institucionais como AI-5, que transformaram os primeiros conceitos em arquitetura de exclusão. Os militares isolaram as ideias dos projetistas da cidade, restringiram a liberdade de pensamento, confiscaram livros, suprimiram o estudo de filosofia das escolas e universidades. A leitura de nossa geração foi afetada por essa falta da literatura proibida. Pessoas foram presas, desapareceram somente por possuir aquele livro. Mas as ideias dos desenhistas da cidade continuavam ali, no silêncio, nas imagens, nas formas curvas das ruas e quadras, na arte mural, escolas, parques, jardins. Nós crescemos entendendo que livros deveriam ser realmente poderosos, já que as pessoas podiam desaparecer somente por tê-los. Aprendemos a ler entre linhas através de uma linguagem visual. Nos tornamos leitores de imagem, lendo no silêncio. Em 1980, uma geração inteira da contracultura tardia, incluindo algumas bandas de rock nacional, o compositor Renato Russo, pessoas privadas de ler os tais livros, correram para ler Aldous Huxley. Chegamos primeiro ao admirável mundo novo de Huxley, antes de conhecermos o admirável mundo novo na fala da adolescente Miranda, personagem de Shakespeare, em A Tempestade. Eu lia o tempo todo, peças, livros, quadrinhos. Desenhar era pensar com a caneta esferográfica. In my book, Mangrove Kids, Meninos do Mangue, the protagonist is the mangrove itself. I learned from Hans Christian Andersen that the landscape can be the protagonist in a conflict leading other characters to a boundary situation between reality and fiction. Reality is fiction. Words and pictures are the same thing. The first mangrove I met started at the back of my uncle's house. Mangroves are nurseries, without which all sea life ends. But giant coastal cities have turned them into immense waste deposits. In 2000, the director Adolfo Lachtemacher invited me to Recife to film the documentary The Crab Cycle, based on the works of Josué de Castro. I did the art direction along with Graça Lima. I watched the children that were there. They walked among the mangrove roots like cluster of little fish do, protecting themselves from the madness of adults who were often stunned because of their drinking and lack of work. The crab is the first toy for any kid brought up in the mangrove. It's his joke work, his simulacrum. But I tried not to immerse myself into an ecological or child labor denunciation aspect. I was interested in a more human mangrove, the people's day-to-day lives in there. But how to talk about it without making any narrative complaint. Observing the trash among the roots was my way to make narrative out of images, and I started to stick pieces of plastic on paper. Our town was far from the mangrove, 2,000 kilometers. Along the highway, the steaming mud houses resembled modern architecture. It was on our way back home that I saw the charcoal kilns for the first time. Are those houses? Firehouses, son, my father said. In my book, Young Charcoal Burners, Carvoeirinhos, the narrator is a hornet that changes his point of view to confront the issues of child labor and slave labor. Looking at these issues with horror and seeing the absolute absurdity of them could prevent us from seeing the actual boy. In this case, the observer is an animal who doesn't even understand what a human is. In that way, maybe we can look without any preconceived ideas. In Brazil, humankind is still touched by nature. No Brasil, a natureza ainda toca o humano. There is still child labor and slave labor. The ecosystem is being destroyed by the production of some commodities, such as pig iron in Brazil. Some people keep saying that these issues are not children's stuff. But if a child participates in these activities, then it is a child's subject. The images of the fact speaks for themselves. I have to connect with these places and people. Children from different places in the world should be able to identify a house like their own at least once, in order that their surroundings may also take part in fairy tales. Since not every house in the world has a chimney, I need to be caught by things that some people consider non-commercial or difficult or too regional. I confess, I am really not worried if books are going to sell or not. I work with books and plays because there is nothing else I can do. My fictional universe mainly relates to people outside the economical or unstoppable chain of development. Likewise, I'm interested in species that decline before becoming known in a country known for its abundance. In such a political context of accelerating economical growth, perhaps there is no room for the subtlety of life. Life can get really subtle sometimes. Just think of the smallest existing species of anteater, the tamanduai. He inhabits the unreachable parts of the tallest trees and does not seem to have any function beyond simply existing and thinking. Animals think, they do think, with their eyes and whole bodies. Maybe if tamanduai appears as a character in a book, children will get to know him better. Fiction's voice allows it. Without this voice, nobody will hear them. A highway separates a family of golden lion tamarins in Poço das Antas Nature Reserve. What chance do they have? Roads need to be built, don't they? To transport pig iron and other things, or to transport people. I always avoid transforming pure artistic flow in denunciation-focused art. Art cannot be guided by anything but freedom of ideas. I don't want to teach anything, but fictional images in a country that has the largest number of murders of environmental activists might constitute effective activism too. The increase in new developmentalism can turn the world into a less challenging place, creating a world where pragmatism swallows the fiction and the ideas as the lake swallowed books. You can find a TV in every corner of our country. Many people are passionate about television dramas in Brazil, and the companies advertise all unnecessary stuff during commercial time, pushing away free thinking. Books almost never appear in Brazilian soap operas. Brazilian soap opera mainly show the urban upper class lifestyle, and life in the suburbs always seem chaotic and full of overacting characters, as well as giving a stereotyped image of the inner cities. It's not a coincidence that almost everyone wants to live in big cities. Narrative images in books can make a change, and they actually do. And we can see that what happens to many successful initiatives when we travel around Brazil. Books encourage tolerance by accepting the difference, without preconceived ideas or hate, without judging, and through the dialogue with the other. It would be much easier to get to this utopia through books rather than lowering the age at which teenagers can get arrested. There is a talk of saturated colors in South America. I've learned that not every color is carnivalization. Blood is a saturated red that after drying turns black. Yves Klein's blue, cobalt, Rothko's blue is the same mineral blue found in the narrative art of the Jequitinhonha Valley. Not all artists in the southern hemisphere overdo colors. The color itself means nothing, but color is the interaction with the present, with the now, blue, blue. And only the present, blue, allows a dialogue, blue, with memory. I would like to address these words to all the artists who have had their names suppressed because of the use of an ethnocentric moniker that diminishes them. Folk art, naive, spontaneous art. Moreover, I really wish that we never hear this belittling denomination anymore. Once somebody asked me, how might we call these artists then? How about calling them by their own names? I said. Noemisa, Galdino, Nino, Adriano, their imagery shows an individual fiction, their inner world, their own solitude, their pain. Children and young adult books incorporate pain. There is no private or separate world for children and adults. Despair and pain do not respect age groups, nor does war. That fact, which I hold to be true, is revealed also in another book I made, Subair and the Labyrinths, Subair e os Labirintos, about the bombing of Baghdad in 2003 during the Iraq War. Actually, it consists of two books, one read from the left to the right, almost with the rhythm of a video game, and shaped like a stand-up divider. The other is a book the boy finds inside the first book, read from right to left. It is a dialogue between the two forms of reading. It is a dialogue between an imaginary world in the past in the written and imaginary world in the past and the written world of today. The architecture of the paper seeks to be as narrative as the illustrations and works. I once said that I have a notebook to draw and a sketchbook to write. Designing dummies allow me to travel into the book. Travel books are my companions, either when I'm traveling or not. I might do it in the mangrove, at the desert, on Nami Island, Korea, in Munich, in Azumino, Mexico, Tehran, wild Australasia, or in a library. I could only finish the plot of John by a hair's breadth, João por fio, after I had been to the floating islands of Urus on Lake Titicaca. A boy left alone to sleep under the web of his bedspread, facing the challenge of passing the night under his blanket that seems to be as big as the whole world. Even though some lullabies and being left all alone at night seems scary, this is the moment when the mother or father give the child one of the most valuable gifts, courage. In contradance, a girl wants to be a ballerina, just like her mother, who died not too long ago. In order to illustrate this book, I made a putty doll of the girl and sewed it in an organdy skirt for her. The transposition of the three-dimensional into two-dimensional photos in black and white gave me a better understanding of the dimensions of the girl. It's strange. Some scientists say that the world is really two-dimensional, and the idea of depth is an illusion. Fiction not always far apart from silence. Some images get larger than us, don't they? Like those scary bear drawings in the book. Do you remember? Or the illustrations of that other book that scared me. Later, my brother Marcelo said he was afraid of the same drawings. Sandra, Marcelo, you and I share the same fear and fascination for those illustrations. Do you remember? Sandra, I now understand what you used to say. It's true that in that planet city of ours, the trees and the buildings grew at the same time that we were growing up. So it seems that we are the same size despite the passage of time. Or maybe it was the town who got smaller and smaller. While writing this, I had a recollection of me and you beneath the corner of the blanket, looking like a giant caterpillar with two heads, as you were reading one of Andersen's books to me. Obrigado.
Thank you, Roger. Obrigado. Muchas gracias. Con eso ha sido prácticamente todo por hoy. Solamente queremos, primero que nada, darle las gracias a nuestro traductor simultáneo de lengua de señas mexicana, Noé Romero. Muchas gracias, Noé. También les quiero recordar un par de cosas. Primero, que los camiones están aquí a la salida, los camiones que los regresarán al Hotel Fiesta Americana Reforma. The buses are just outside waiting for you to take you to Hotel Fiesta Americana Reforma, to take you back to the hotel. Los trabajos del día de mañana, jueves 11, van a comenzar de manera puntual a las 9 de la mañana. Tomorrow we are starting at 9 in the morning, but please remember that it will be required that you have an ID in order to get your simultaneous units in order to get the translations. Les recuerdo que necesitan presentarse un poquito antes de las 9 de la mañana para recoger sus aparatos de traducción simultánea, y también les recuerdo que les van a pedir una identificación oficial para poderles prestar estas unidades. De nuevo, muchísimas gracias. Bruno, si quieres agregar algo, buenas noches.
Esto que acaba de decir Pablo es muy importante. Lleven su identificación oficial para conseguir las unidades de traducción simultánea mañana. Que duerman muy bien, y no quiero dejar de hacer un último agradecimiento a nuestro conductor del día de hoy, para quien pido un aplauso, a Pablo Boyosa, our conductor, please. Thank him for his generous participation. Please do not forget to take an ID tomorrow to get your unit, to your simultaneous translation units before 9 o'clock, because we start at 9 o'clock on the dot. Have a very good night, and thank you for everything.